Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Princess. I'm a Nigerian currently living in Canada. And welcome to a new series. This is my new series called Silent Struggles, One Voice, where we have real guests come to our channel and share their experiences and their struggles from different times in their life, like different aspects in their life. Today's guest, this is episode one. Welcome to episode one. And today's guest is
Barbara.
Barbara. So today's topic, as you've seen from the title, is dealing with child loss. And that's a very sensitive topic. Till I spoke to Barbara about it, I had no personal experience. Till we spoke on the phone, I had no personal experience about it. So that's why then I didn't know, like, how do I react? Like, what do I say? Is there a right thing to say? And we notice in society today, this is not a topic a lot of people want to share. This is not, this is not what they want to share publicly. This is not what they want to talk about. But I believe that in the world as it is now, like, we need to talk about things like this.
Because a lot of people are looking for answers and
Yes.
they have a lot of questions, they don't know who to ask.
Yes.
Instead they end up internalizing their pains and struggles and then so I think it's ideal
Yeah.
for people to start
Talking about it.
about their personal struggle regardless of the impact or what they feel the society is going to, judge them.
Stigma, yeah.
Yeah.
And as Nigerians, I feel like we deal with a lot of stigma, a whole lot of stigma.
We carry our bodies alone.
Alone.
Fear of what people will say, interpretations of what people are going to say, internalize all the struggles, and end up getting depressed.
Yes, and I feel like that's why there's been a surge in depression, because there are so many women out there that go through this same thing, like they've experienced child loss at one point or the other, and they didn't feel enough security around them to talk about it, and then they feel like they are the only one, it's their fault, and you just start internalizing. Yes. So that's why today we're like, okay, we need to start breaking this table. We need to start having realistic discussions on here, not just about the fun and the happy moments. Let's talk about the down times, because there's somebody out there that's probably going through this or have gone through this and can relate to this scenario. Okay, so we don't really have, it's not really an interview question and answer, but just more of a guide, discussion. So the first question I think came to my head is, how did you feel when you had that first child loss? And how many, like, if you're comfortable saying, like, how many child losses, like, what exactly was your experience like?
Okay, so I've had 3 losses, 2 second trimester losses, and
Wow.
1 first trimester loss. My first loss was, I won't say my hardest loss among the 3.
Yeah.
It was painful, don't get me wrong, but it came as a shock.
Yeah.
I was numb. I didn't understand what was
going on.
It was new to me, and I hadn't,
Met
people in that situation. So it was new to me. It came as a shock, and it was difficult for me. I had limited support because I didn't know. I was confused on whether should I open up to my friend or should I tell this person? What are they going to think about me? You understand? So the major support system I had was my husband, and then a few close friends that I could talk to on a personal level. Yeah. So the experience was horrific because I had to go through labor.
Wow.
20 weeks.
And your body went through pregnancy, like it went through everything.
I had to push.
Oh my
so imagine
goodness.
pushing out a child is not going to be alive.
Alive, yeah.
And then going through all that labor pain and then going through postpartum.
You had to go through postpartum because your body,
You had to bleed for 6 weeks, snap back, all of that.
Without the baby.
Lactate, yes, without the baby. So it was really frustrating.
Yeah, because that's something I also like. I've actually, as I said, I've not had a personal experience. And when we spoke then, I just couldn't imagine like
Imagine.
what you were going through and stuff like that. And then subsequently, would you say the next pregnancy, did it get harder? Like, were you confident or were you always scared? Like, oh my God, what if
Okay.
something happens again?
Yes. So
Like,
that
were
was
you able to be happy?
okay. So the next pregnancy, second pregnancy came quite. I had that. Well, the first loss was August 2020. Then the second pregnancy was in 2022. Yes,
So that
throughout
was
2020.
2 years
Yes,
after.
yes, years after. So it came, I was confident that, okay, I'm going to be positive about this
Yeah,
one.
this
However, I still
experience.
had some little phobia of
Yeah.
uncertainty. I'm like, what if this happens again? Just normal
Yeah,
human,
normal human.
yeah, shock and fear.
Mhm.
So, but, and then unfortunately, it happened
It
again.
happened
But
again.
this time around, it was Nigerian factor. It was negligence. It was,
Negligence.
nonchalant of my doctors and all of that because they knew about my history from the first one. So the
Mm.
plan was we're going to put things in place to prevent this
To
from happening
happening
again.
again. But that
And
didn't
they
happen.
did not, yeah, they didn't do that. And then it now happened. That was very devastating.
Yeah.
Again, I had to go through the
Again.
second time.
Yeah,
It's
that must be
now,
a
but it's
lot.
not
And you know,
possible.
the first one, that was like, okay, that just happened. It was
Mm-hmm.
nobody's fault.
But
But knowing
the
that this
second
was
one, oh my God.
doctor's
Oh my God.
negligence, like I feel like
It wasn't just I just didn't blame just the doctor. I blamed myself. God, maybe I should have not. Maybe I should have used a different hospital. Maybe I should
hospital
have pushed, advocated for myself. Maybe I should have
and
done
that self
a lot of self
blame
blame. Is
is the hardest.
crazy.
Self blame is the
It's
hardest to get rid
crazy.
of.
Ah,
Yeah,
it was really frustrating. It was horrible. The second loss was terrible. Like it was worse
terrible.
than the first one. Because I'm like, how can I lose two children?
Yeah,
Fully formed, left hand, like every everything complete. It was really crazy. I almost lost my mind. That's when I actually fell into depression.
depression.
You know,
Oh, that's, I can't even
I
imagine what you went
know.
through. And would you say that there was like, what was the support system like? Did the hospital have like support where, like, after a
I had
loss,
a
do they
very
have?
bad experience with the hospital, and unfortunately, I don't want to call the hospital's name. If I'm being serious,
Yeah,
I will just call their name.
yeah.
But I had a very bad experience with the hospital. There was no support after care.
After,
It was like,
even
oh,
investigations, were there
there were no
investigations?
investigations after the loss. There were
There
no
should have
follow-up,
been
like information or
investigations.
something flowing up with you, calling you
Yeah.
to ask you how you doing
How you
today. Like
doing?
you've lost a
You've
baby,
you've paid
you
hospital
paid the bills.
bills.
Bye. You know the
Bye.
funny part. My name was still on the antenatal log, so I was getting text messages
Oh
after
my
the loss. Like,
goodness.
hi Barbara, your next antenatal date is to show you how disorganized. Because if you
Yeah.
have a record and this
You
person
should.
you know how to remove, because those things
Oh,
are
very
reminders.
triggering. Like that's the last message you need to be
Yes,
saying.
I got that message for like the next 1 year.
Oh
I
my
don't know why I didn't
goodness.
go back to the hospital to, tell them to take my name off the record and all of that. And then the one that actually shocked me and made me cancel both Nigeria and everything was we were about to bury the baby. The person in charge of funerals
Hmm.
did not tell I and my husband that the hospital had a registered funeral home that usually come
Oh,
to take
take the baby.
babies
Yeah.
to go and bury. The guy went behind. I don't know if he wanted to sell the dead baby. Yes,
Oh my goodness.
he didn't tell us at first. My husband is a very, very meticulous person, so he was like, this hospital cannot not, as in, it's not possible for
Hmm.
them to not have that arrangement. Why do I have to do
Do
all
all this
this
arrangement
outside partnership?
yourself.
Yeah, there's supposed to be
There should be, yes, partnerships, and you just go there and
the guy kept on trying to convince us, oh, we have to go to a police cemetery, we buy a land for 500K. If you want to come and be seeing the baby often, you get one of 1 million.
it sounded too
You know,
financial.
thank you. Then if you don't want, if you 300K for the one where you just give them the baby, and that was when my husband just said no.
Just give them the baby.
Yes, just pay 300K. We'll sort it out.
What do they mean by sort it
Thank
out?
you. Sort it out how?
How?
You can't come and check on the baby again in that particular grave where they buried it. What does that
So
mean?
where is the baby then?
Thank you. That is
No.
so we went to a different unit in the hospital. I went to ask questions. I was not called the nurse aside. I was like, please, how is this done? When the woman is living in the hospital.
Yeah, what is
you
done?
do?
Yeah.
Yes. She said, oh, we have a funeral home. She called their name. We checked it online, Google dates.
It was
They were
like,
legit, yes, registered. We also have people that cremate as well.
yeah,
If
you want to
that
do,
one,
yeah.
yeah. Like, how can the head of gynecology unit not tell him this aspect?
This is the information he should have given your husband. Yes.
So I went straight, followed the nurse, she gave us the form, we filled it, waited there. People from the funeral home came by themselves with the small baby
Casket, yeah.
casket, yes, packed everything, asked us if we want to follow. Obviously, I didn't want to join them.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
so emotional.
so that was how. So I couldn't get past. I said, how can you even do something to someone in
So
pain?
someone in
How can you be
pain.
trying to extort from someone that's already grieving? You want? What was the plan to sell the baby or
Like, what is the reason? And I feel like this is exactly why we are making this video, because I didn't know about that.
Exactly.
I've never heard about it because this is something people never talk about. So it's like nobody knows, and you can imagine how many victims he would have had that would have just paid that 300K. Because at that point, you're in a low point in life that you can't want to be thinking and be what should I do? What should I do? At that point, it's like, okay, whatever. And especially coming from a hospital attendant, you just believe them and be like, okay, that you know best and stuff. But that's so wrong on their part, just taking advantage of people. Because at this point, it's like, do they end up cremating the babies without the parents knowing?
I personally don't think those babies get to the cemetery. If I give a hungry Nigerian,
Yeah,
would you go and dig? Yeah,
how many? There's no need buying a land.
That disposes somewhere and prepare the money. Because they didn't even want us to have contact with the
Contact? What do you mean you won't have contact? So you can't go and see the baby like.
Yes. You transfer the money to them, or if you don't want.
Not even through the hospital or through.
Not through the hospital.
Personal account.
And he was a little shady when he was telling. He didn't want other people to hear the conversation. Brought us into a different room. Told him, okay, this is this, this is that.
I know that's shady.
Smart about it. Yeah, so.
And this is happening in Lagos State, Nigeria. So, like, if you're going through this, or you know somebody that have gone through this, like, always, that's why it's good to have a good support person. Like, have a rock beside you that can make those decisions for you. Because at that point, if you're just the one, you're grieving, you're going through everything, your body's still going through postpartum, like, you don't have the time to start thinking, oh, is this right or not? You'll be like, okay, whatever, like, let's get it over and done. I need to move on from this. And it's just like, yeah. Wow, that's such an experience. Like, trying to extort money in that kind of situation, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I won't believe somebody would have gone that low if not that you experienced it.
I didn't believe it. I'm like, well, then these people are really dark.
Yeah.
This person is mourning. This man and his wife are practically in a state of, and you really want to bring this up
to bring this money, and many people would have fallen for it, because at that point you're not thinking, yes, you'll be like, okay, no problem, okay, give me the 300K own, it's cheaper, because hospital bills, everything mounting and stuff. And then another question is like, how did you deal with loss over time? Like, your first two pregnancies, that was the second trimester, right? So you had already like shopped and bought clothes and stuff. Like, how did you deal with seeing the baby room? Did you keep some things, or did you like, I don't want to see anything and lock it up somewhere?
After the first loss, I was really careful in the second loss. I don't know why. But I didn't.
That self-doubt.
Yes, I didn't just dive right into buying things yet. I hadn't checked the sex of the baby. It was on the day I gave birth I knew
the sex of the baby.
So for the second,
so it was less than 20 weeks.
Yes, it was about 19. So I didn't want to go into buying a lot. The first loss I started buying stuff, but I had to give them away.
But did you hold anything like hold maybe like a cap or a
Yes,
glove, or it was just too
my
painful?
second loss, I had said where I put the heartbeat of the baby in it. I still have it today. So I'm like, when I give birth
Oh,
to my children, I'm gonna put them in their room.
yeah,
Their siblings heartbeat.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah, so
God,
I got
that's
a
so
teddy
emotional.
and put
And you got that in Lagos?
no, I got that
Abroad, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
because I wasn't sure. I know in the
Yeah,
US I
they
see
have
those
it.
kind of
Yeah,
services,
I got that.
but I didn't know
I went on
about.
vacation, did
Okay,
it,
then
came
didn't.
back, then lost the baby. So I already had it with me. Yeah.
So the first one you held on to stuff, but the second and the third you didn't have
I didn't
anything
want to, yeah.
because you didn't hold on. Yeah.
Yes.
To be honest, I feel like I may cope better with letting go than holding on.
Holding on to,
Like I
yes.
want to probably hold on to
Something
like
always
one
remind
piece
you.
or two pieces,
Yeah.
but I don't think I would want to hold on to a lot just because I feel like I won't be able to grieve properly because I'm still like expect
Yeah.
that pang of hope will still be there where you're still like when I walk into the baby's room or something, you're still like, okay, if everything is still there, you still have this like, oh maybe, oh you still have that maybe something will change and all that. So that's really because with grief, different people grieve differently.
Yeah.
Like some people hold on to more things, some people hold on to less things, some people don't even hold on to anything at all.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, that will help their whole grief process. And what would you say? Is there something people said around you that time where you'll be like, don't say that?
Yes, a lot.
Like what? Well, okay. Let's just say what are like the top two things that people? Because I know people always say things like "Don't worry, another one will come." Like what sentence would you say got to you that you tell people like stop saying that to grieving mothers?
Some people were like, relax, it will happen. Don't put your mind into it, don't think too much of it. At his own, at God is going to,
Another one.
yes, at his own time, all of that. But it's hard for you. How can you tell me?
Yes.
God is going to, my she can't relate.
You can't relate.
You can't relate. Another thing I want to point out is even those that were not everybody knew had miscarriage.
Mm.
So those are making comments before miscarriage. Hold on, mercy. People lack
Womb watchers, Nigerians, the cap of womb watching, that's the most disrespectful
At
thing.
the point I stopped posting on my Instagram page, it was like when I post, somebody will make reference to, when I posted a picture, someone was like, you see, they keep this shape, I be your figure, you still want, one bone,
Jesus.
all those kind of things, no one give you a husband.
What?
Alright. You know why? I was
You're fighting for your life! Oh my
I
goodness!
was fighting for my life. Even if you have to say, as in, do you think I'm just.
If you don't have that rapport, don't make that comment.
They're not even close.
Yes.
People say a lot of things. Side talks, people try to go for an event, a family, everybody put in their stomach to see.
And I feel this is something we're going to talk more in our second video.
Yeah.
So we have a second episode coming up where we are going to talk about TTC, which is trying to conceive. And we both have that experience. And that's the thing, like people don't understand, like do not make references to what you don't know about. Because you don't know the struggle someone is making. So imagine you coming from the hospital after the child loss and you're going through postpartum and then you go on Instagram to unwind and somebody is now like won't you give birth for your husband or won't you, and you're like fam,
Crazy.
and I feel like we Nigerians, unfortunately, we do not, there are no boundaries because people will say what they want to say and say come and beat me, like they will say what they want to say and say come and beat me, like they don't care.
Nigerians don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop.
And you went through this, happened over 5 years, yeah?
Yes,
Or 4 years. So imagine 5 years going through this. You still went through TTC, they're trying to conceive. You went through TTC and then you had the baby and you were having child loss, and people are like making random comments online. Like the power of people need to understand the power of their words, like the power of that comment, that laughter.
Much as I do need that.
Yes.
Why would you even comment?
say
Why would you
something
feel
like
like, what if
that.
I would just get married and just stay like this 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I've never sat down to think about, okay, maybe this person is.
Maybe this person, there's a
Yes.
possibility. Because I know that in other cultures, people do that. They just get married and they're like, oh, they don't want to have
Yes.
kids.
Yeah,
But we are Nigerians, like,
once you get married,
once you get married, like, oh, you have to. So for someone to wait, like, there's always a reason. And people need to really stop, like, always, like, wanting to make comments. Some of them will say it as a joke, and it's like, it is not funny. It's not even funny. Like, nothing is funny about it. That's just a lot. And then, okay, we've talked about that. We've talked about. Okay, so we're already wrapping up. How many minutes is this? It's 21. Oh, good, not bad. So, another question is like, how did you have like daily routine, daily practices? Like, what helped you go through grief? Because I know we all know that grief has no time. So, everybody watching, please know, in case you didn't know, like if you have someone going through a loss, there's no timeline. You can't say, oh, 3 months, oh, 2 weeks, oh, 1 year, oh, 2 years. There's no timeline for grief.
One day something hits
You
you
relapse.
from nowhere. Yes, I had that, kind of situations where I'll be like, okay, I've healed from this, moving on. Then one day, I wake up in the morning having an attitude. My husband will be asking me what's wrong. I'll just,
Not
next
today.
thing, I'll start bawling my eyes out. Why? Maybe from 9 months ago.
9 months
So
ago.
it just comes in waves. The next moment, you're
highs
outside
and
hanging out
lows.
with your friends,
Friends, yeah.
chilling, dancing. So yeah, but I didn't have a timeline. I didn't have a particular thing I was doing to make me overcome those losses. But I think what really helped me was my work.
Being busy.
Yes, being busy.
And I
When
do
was
mind.
I
Yes, you
talk
could
more about
reflect
it.
more,
Yes.
yeah.
When I went to work and put myself into work and all of that, it just helped me, clear my head. And my husband loves traveling as well.
Yeah,
Once
so
in a while, we
trips
just
also
travel,
help,
also
yeah.
cleared my head and all of that. So
Mm.
yeah, my work was my major escape.
Escape,
Yes,
yeah.
my work was my major escape.
Yeah.
But still, even with work,
It's still, yes. Because I'm also wondering, like, were there times where you kind of like blamed yourself and your body? Because I feel like, you know how women, they're always like, okay, the one thing we can do that the men can't do is
carry
to
child.
yes.
Yeah.
So were there times where you were going through these things and you blamed yourself for like, why me? Like, why is my body not doing what it should do?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Because you're like, what is wrong with me? Like, because these are things you hear from afar. These are things like, before I met you, I had not met anybody that have gone through child loss. So at that point, the first time I spoke to you and we spoke about it, I didn't really know how to act. Like, in my head, the wires were turning, like, what do I say? What not to say? Because it's like, because nobody talks about things like this. You really don't know how to even relate to the person. And because we are close, like I have a friend that also went through child loss, and I really don't know what to say to her. Like every time she posts, I want to say something, but it's like I don't want to say the wrong thing. Like I'm like, so I'm always like just randomly liking all her posts, like baby stalker, because it's like we as society need to normalize having these discussions where we can now know, okay, what do people like, what can we say, what can we not say, like what kind of support can we render, like I know, like going through dealing with child loss, at that point there are some days you don't want to like cook and all that. Like, would you prefer people around you just sending you like meals and things like that, just supporting their little way? Like, what do you think you would have appreciated at that moment without saying, like, not having conversation? Because I can imagine you may not want to like deal with seeing people and talking about it, but what little gestures would you say
Yeah, I didn't mind.
can
I didn't mind people asking me.
Okay.
I mean,
Close friends, yeah.
I opened up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind them asking me how I'm doing or how I'm talking about the loss.
Because I kept asking you every time. Because after I knew, it turned to like mission in life, like how you doing, how you doing. I was always checking up, and then when you got pregnant, I was like, how you doing, how is this, how is that. It was always like, because it's like I just didn't know. I felt like, am I doing too much? Am I
You're
doing
not doing
too little?
yeah.
We thought someone was sending you too much message, and you're like, okay, that's too much. Like,
No,
calm
people,
down.
your people, relationship with people differ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some people that, oh, I don't mind if they ask me one question.
Mm.
This person is my person.
Yeah, it's a
But
person.
then there's a situation where somebody will ask me, I'll be
I
like,
like, ah,
they bring this late.
it's different.
Like,
Like you may have not by mistake, but
nothing is
let's not be talking about this too much. It's okay. The first sorry you said was fine. The second sorry is becoming annoying. Calm down. Yeah.
And I would have been, my family was supportive. Yeah, family was supportive.
Yeah, because you have a timing. So Babs and I have known for like
How many years?
how many?
20.
See, it's not maybe 10. No, I feel more than maybe 12. 12. So we used to go to
Calabar Carnival.
Calabar. We'll do this in the next video. This one is sentimental. We'll do our intro in the next video. But yeah, so like what kind of support would you have said you appreciated then? Now, like, okay, this meant a lot to me.
Family support.
Family support, yeah.
So, Lagos, I had
Spouse.
Yes,
Spouse is number one. Because I feel like if you don't have your spousal support, the blame enters.
Yes.
Because then it's like, if your spouse is not the same level with you, like he's not understanding what you're going through.
So supportive. Like, Barbara, please just leave this thing. If we don't have children or a daughter, I'll be like,
it's easy to say. African women, so you're going to understand it like, that's what you say. I feel like African men are open to adoption.
Women are also going through it.
They're also going through it.
Women just carry it in our head.
I feel like because society blames us more than a man. Because if like you dealing with child loss, everybody like me as a woman, I would sympathize with you first because I know that society is not sympathizing with you. Everybody's looking at you like, oh, why are you not doing this for your husband? Why are you not doing this for your husband? It's not about you. Like there are so many women that deal with child loss and nobody actually asks them, how are you doing? Like it's so simple. Like, how are you doing? Everybody's worrying like, oh, the husband never gets child by now. He never even gets Okpara. He never gets Adamne. He never get, and your Igbo, I mean? Yes, pressure. So I feel like I tend to sympathize more with the women because society always sympathizes more with the men.
Yeah.
So even men, they also have their struggle, but it's not the same. I feel like it's not the same thing because once there's a couple with like child loss or TTC or anything, the first natural blame goes to the woman. Why is she not giving birth? Why hasn't she? Why? And it's like this is not a one-way street. Like it's not just about me. So I feel, but having that supportive husband makes a whole lot of difference.
It does actually.
You can fight a battle outside, but inside the house, you have that support. But if you have to fight battle outside, fight battle inside, like you'll be drained. You'll be drained. This was so insightful. Do you have any last words of wisdom to share? Like,
words of wisdom, just develop a tough skin.
Going through this.
Yes, that's one thing because it's not easy. You have to develop thick skin because to shake you, the journey is a very, very rough road,
Lots of turbulence,
certain things. First pregnancy, you're not sure. Second pregnancy, you develop with anxiety. What will happen?
And constant anxiety.
Yeah, also open up to about some days I want to internalize, I don't want to talk to my husband about anything. But inside I'm dying. He's talking to me, but he's not quite sure what the problem is. Why not just open up and tell him this is how you feel?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And it's okay to find support outside of your spouse.
Yes.
Because there are some spouses, like if you have a spouse that cannot give you that emotional support you need, you must not get everything from your spouse. Find a sibling, find a friend, find someone. Like I feel like holding a pillar during this crisis helps steady you. So the days you want to do, like I always tell, like I think I may have told you before, I'm like, see, you can call me and rant. Like, just call me if you want to vent. I'm that kind of person that I will just be on the phone, vent it out, because internalizing it just makes it worse. It never makes it better.
Yeah.
Because then you start hearing voices of what you coulda, woulda, shoulda,
Yeah.
and things like that. So definitely finding somebody, I think, makes it all better. Hmm. This was so insightful. Even I have learned, like, I've been talking to you all this while, but I didn't know anything about the funeral, because that came as a shock. I really didn't even know what happened at that stage, because nobody really talks about it, to be honest. Nobody talks about it. So I can't even compare it to something else, because, like, nobody really talks about it. But yes, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for coming to our first episode of Silent Struggles One Voice, where we talk about real life situations. And because I know there are women out there going through or dealing with child loss or have dealt with child loss that can relate. If you're also watching, you can comment below, like, what would you, yeah, what you want to learn more in this series, like what kind of things would you want to learn. And also, if you've dealt with child loss, like, how did you cope, like what helped you, like, just drop whatever tip you think is an unpopular opinion that people don't know about. Just drop it in the comments, and someone else would also be able to learn from this and all that. But thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you again for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.